everyone hear me all right? Just doing a little sound check there. Can anyone hear me? I've got Luce here. Luce is my
Hello.
moderator. Is everyone, can they hear me all right? Maybe. We've had a few highs. Hey, Katie, thanks for tuning in. Well, I don't know who that is. What we got? Baking with V. Hi, y'all.
Steamac.
And Steamac as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you guys hear us all right? Someone just drop us a little comment saying all good on the sound front. Oop. That doesn't mean you can hear us. Hopefully that does mean you can hear us. Anyways,
I can hear. Thanks, Katie.
Amazing. Thanks, Katie. My name is Maxine. I'm one of the managers here at Northumberland Zoo, and this is Lucy. Lucy is a curator.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us on our Northumberland Zoo YouTube channel today. We're going to be doing something very special today, which we haven't done before, and that's going to be going into our brand new bat exhibit. So they're just behind us there. We're going to be meeting a keeper in there shortly, who's going to be giving them their last feed of the day. So we're just going to wait and see if anybody else wants to join us before we go in and get absconded by bats. So while we're waiting, there's some cool stuff to show you actually. On the wall here, we've got a list of all the different bats that live here at the zoo. I don't know if you can see that. So we've got some cool names here. We've got Acer, Finn, Niklaus, Elijah, Popo, Ixion, Erebus, Atlas, Heimdall, Celine, Seema, Freya, do you think?
Freya, yeah.
Freya, and Thea. So we've got 9 males in total, and there's 4 females. So each one of them has their own identification number. But also what's really cool is they've all got their own individual identification sheet. So what we do is we actually go around and we kind of like draw their little markings on, draw any like scars or something like that on their wings so that we're easily identifiable for anyone who wants to come in here. They're amazing names, aren't they? I think they're really cool. So yeah, there's actually some identification sheets that have been filled out there. So that one there is Popo. You can see the markings on the back of his neck there, which are pretty cool. We've got another one there, which is Finn. So his markings are quite different, because when we go in there and actually look at the bats, you'll see that they are very different. I know it's easy to say that for us, but they've all got different amounts of like blonde on the back of their necks, so that is very clear identifying markers. So anyways, I think we'll head in.
Let's head in. We've got
So
10 people joined us.
Awesome. So if you guys think of any questions or anything that you would like to know about the bats as we go on, then just drop them in the chat box. Lucy's going to be picking up those questions there, and either me or Jay, our keeper, who we're going to be meeting shortly, will answer them for you. But obviously, this is an Earth Day thing, wasn't it?
Yes. So it's actually the end of Earth Week, or even Earth Month. The whole of April is Earth Month. So we thought we'd round it off with one of our most iconic species.
Yes, and the Livingstone fruit bats are definitely one of our rarest animals here at the zoo. They are critically endangered. There's less than 1,200 of them left in the wild, and in captivity there's only around 100 of them. So they are incredibly rare. We are super lucky here at Northumberland to actually have them. So shall we go in and see them? Yes, I think so.
Okay, let's go.
So I'll turn the camera around. Hopefully you can see that.
There's a few right here at the door. Hello.
All right, kids. How you doing? How's it going? So here we go. There's one of them just here waiting by the door. Very, very keen. Here we go. We'll just get a size comparison next to Luce of how big they are. They are massive. So, Jay, do you want to come down here? We'll have a little look at these. This is Jay. I'm just going to turn the camera around again. There we go. Oop. There we go. There's Jay there. Hey Jay, thanks for taking the time to say hello. You've got their last feed of the day there, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got some fruit, so melon, pear, a bit of grape. So that's their favourite melon. So they're very excited for it. Hi,
And
as you can tell.
Who have we got here then? Who can you see?
Well, this here is Celine. She's one of the younger females. This here is Elijah. He's one of the older males. He's 10 years old. And then we've got, I can't actually see. I think that's Asa. Can you turn around? Yeah, that's Asa. Can I have my arm back, please?
We've got our first question, Jane.
We do.
Oh,
Okay.
Our well would like to know, what kind of habitat do they live in?
Well, they live in forested areas. I'm sorry, this is Asa.
This is Asa.
Yeah, so he's the most submissive, and he does tend to get a little bit bullied by the others, so he'll cling on to the keeper. Can you go over here? and I'll actually give you some food if you do.
Do you want me to take the fruit away, just in case that's what he's trying to get to?
I mean, sure
Unless
thing.
you want to use a bit to get him on.
I hate so.
Well, this is a great shot. I mean, we never get a bat cross shot.
Stand right next to them.
Okay. All right, you gonna
Here we
go on
go.
there,
There we go.
please?
It just goes to show that they're not scary animals, though, doesn't it?
They're really not. And Asa mostly does that because he knows he gets bullied off the food by the others, but he knows if he's near the keeper, he's not going to be as bullied.
Should we spread
What
the
we can
food?
do, yeah,
can
I think what we'll
spread
do
the food
is we'll
around, and
move
then
some
I'll
food
answer.
around. Yeah. So yes, you can keep asking your questions. We will get to them. We're just being inundated by bats just now.
Asa definitely does need cuddles. That's what we've. You guys have picked up on that.
Acer needs cuddles for sure. So Acer is actually the youngest bat in here. He's actually from, hello, he is from Bristol Zoo. So he's one of the 4 boys that moved here a little while ago. Hello, how are you? So as you can see, they are quite, I don't know if friendly is the word, but they're certainly confident. They'll, especially when they know that there's food involved, just like most animals. If there's food involved, they want to say hello. There's very few animals that we've met in this world that actually want to hang out with you because they want to be your friend. And one of those animals is a tapir, and the other animal is a rhino. They love cuddles. So bats, as soon as they realize there's no food, they're like, meh, bye. Right, here we go. Are we good now? Right. Jay has just got some food there.
Yeah. So yeah, these guys come from forested habitat on an island. And they actually live in the upper areas of the island because of deforestation in the lower areas, because that's where the people typically live. They want to be by the coast where they have good fertile soil and access to fishing and everything like that. So these guys typically live at higher elevations. And in the wild, the trees that are native to their area, they struggle to live outside of those trees. So if you plant other plants, other trees, other crops, they actually struggle to adapt to that environment. So there we go.
The questions are flooding in now. So,
Okay.
Joanne Dixon's just wanting to know, are the public allowed to interact with them?
Not at the moment. We do have, so the public can walk through the public area, which is behind a barrier. I do believe that in the future we're going to be starting to do bat interactions where you can come in and possibly feed them and just get a little bit of a closer look and meet them. But we're kind of doing that at their own pace, so we're getting them used to people, we're getting them used to training before we actually bring the public in. Okay.
How long do they live for?
So in the wild they only live about 10 years old. We've already got some in here who are 10 years old, the older boys, Elijah and Niklaus. But in captivity they can pretty much triple that, so it's usually averaging about 27 years old.
That's super old, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
There is one very, very elderly one in captivity that his carers take him for flights because he can no longer fly, so they lift him and carry him around and he flaps his wings, which is very sweet.
We've got a couple of questions on breeding them. So,
Okay.
Arwell just wants to know, are we planning on breeding them? And then Bill wants to know how to give birth.
So we are planning on breeding them. We do have 4 females in here and the rest are all males. I think that's not food. That's Elijah there. He's a bit nosy. So yeah, the rest are all males. We have seen these since we put them in here. We've seen the latest coupling just a couple of days ago, in fact. So hopefully they will be breeding soon. Everyone keeps stealing the camera. They normally have a gestation period of 152 days. And then when they first give birth, the young are born with their eyes open, but they can't fly and they can't really look after themselves. So typically the mum keeps them tucked onto her wings for the first kind of 4 weeks of life. And
Sorry, we're just having a technical difficulty. There we go.
yeah. So after those 4 weeks, she'll start leaving them in a creche with other females and other young while she goes a little bit further away to explore. But they are reliant on their mother for at least 2 months of their life, and usually they don't start getting independent until they're about 6 months old.
Very good. Ooh, hello. We've got one that wants a close-up. Just 2 seconds. There we go.
This
Hello.
is the corner that we typically do training in, so they're quite used to coming over and getting
Ah,
really
I
good
see.
food here, and they get a bit excited sometimes.
Oh, goodness me.
And of course we're here, so very exciting for them.
Yes. What I would like to just point out really quickly, I don't know if you can see, but obviously the bats keep grabbing the camera, which is a perfectly acceptable thing to do. We're in their house. But what they keep grabbing the camera with is their thumb. So you see this big kind of pointy thing that comes out their wing, and it's got this lovely big kind of claw on the end of it, and that's what they keep kind of poking us with and grabbing us with. So when they're hanging upside down, you can see the thumbs kind of hanging down. Oops.
Yeah.
from the bottom of the wing there. Jay will just kind of point in the direction of a thumb.
Just here?
Because the wings are modified hands, aren't they?
They are, yes. So they've got elongated fingers, which you can see the bones when they do spread their wings out. There we go. Lovely example. So this here is Thea. She's actually the youngest female. She's only 2 years old. And she's the best at opening her wings up for us. And we can actually only tell her apart when she does open her wings because she's got interesting scarring on the inside of them. Oh, thank you.
Have we got any more questions, Liz?
We do. We've actually got a really nice question that links to Earth Day, and that is it true that fruit bats are good pollinators?
They are amazing pollinators. Actually, they're some of the only pollinators that are large enough for some of the trees that are in their habitat. So they do carry the pollen in their fur, but they also are amazing seed dispersals. So everything they eat, they'll go and fly off and they'll defecate elsewhere, and they'll drop those seeds in a nice patch of fertilizer. So they're great for seed dispersal and pollination.
So just going back to the wings, Katie Gray just wants to know what would happen if they damaged one of the wings. Would they still be able to fly?
It entirely depends on how much damage they sustain. So one of the, there we go. So their wings are incredibly delicate. Hi guys. So they're just chasing Asa away from the food source because he is a lower ranking male and they want him away from the food source. Yes, so their membranes are very delicate. And they can easily get tears and scarring and things in them from each other, from hitting something, from clipping it on a branch, anything like that. Hi, Ixion.
We could wander along a little bit.
We could.
Yeah.
So generally, if it's just a small tear, they heal quite well from it. It'll just have a little pierced hole. In fact, some of them, when they open their wings, you will see have tiny little pierced holes. If it's a tear, it could affect their flying, and if they're unable to fly, it could be that they're unable to get to their food source. And if it's obviously larger or they've broken bones, they won't be able to fly and they won't be able to get to their food. So here in captivity, we can obviously look after them, we can medicate them. You've got a bat attacking the camera again.
Yeah.
All right, this is Popo.
It's going well.
Here we go.
Thank you.
That's all right. Yeah, so here in captivity, we can give them medication, we can rest them, we can make sure that they're eating whilst they're resting, which means they've got a greater chance of survival if their wing is damaged. But they could tear out an entire strip of their membrane, in which case they would not heal from that, they wouldn't be able to fly again from that.
So yeah, on that note, the reason why we've designed the bat house in the way that we have is so that there aren't any branches. Everything is like a giant trampoline in here, so they come flying along and they kind of bounce off of it. There's nothing sharp or pointy. You know, all of the posts in here have been covered with fake grass, just so that there's extra padding, so that we've reduced the risk massively of them injuring themselves or ripping their wings. Hello, you coming over?
Should we walk down to the limit?
Yeah, let's go down.
Spread them out.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Whoop.
So there are two of them that do like to fly around on you.
Ooh, goodness me.
Popo and
Hello. All right. How you doing? Whoa. Hi. They're very, very grabby. And what's really interesting is that they're actually quite clever on the floor. So what they do is they'll drop the food from the feeders and they'll quite happily go back down onto the ground, kind of scooch along the ground, get back up onto these ropes so they can climb back up again, because they don't want to waste any food whatsoever. I'm coming down here now. So this bottom corner where we're heading now is actually where a lot of the females like to hang out. We've only got 4 females in total, and they've kind of owned this corner.
We just got told off by a couple of females.
Oh, you just got told off by a couple of females?
They've gone back up high now.
Hello, look at you. You're very pretty.
I don't know if you'll be able to see one of the holes in her wings. If she turns it around, she has got a little piercing just on the inside of this finger here. You see it?
Doing it, a little teeny one.
Yeah.
That should close up over time.
So the females do generally seem to have more scars and piercings on their wings, and that's probably when they're mating, they're getting hooked by the males.
Also, the females are less friendly than the males, so when they do that wing flap, they're just saying move away a little bit, please. So we'll do that.
All right, you're all right, missus. So when we look at the entire kind of bat house, hello, there's this massive kind of dip in the middle of it, which you can kind of see behind me. So that's the public viewing area that's down the bottom there. Whoop, hello. So there's this huge dip in the middle, and that's so that when the bats are hanging from the roof, because there's netting that goes all the way along the roof there, I don't know if you can see it, but the bats can then drop into flight. Bats aren't like birds, they kind of just stand on a branch and like launch themselves into flight and then flap their wings. They have to hang and drop. So providing this kind of 6-foot drop in the middle of the enclosure here, it gives them that space so that they can catch the air and swoop back around again. And this building's wide enough actually that we've seen the bats kind of doing circuits in here as well, so we've actually seen them doing like 3-4 flights around in a wing, which is great. So that was a very short flight. But no, we're super happy with how they're doing. I've just seen a question come in there saying how big are their wings? Livingstone fruit bats are the 3rd largest bat in the world. They've got a wingspan of 1.2 meters. And if you come down to the zoo and actually come and see our exhibit, we've actually got some massive silhouettes laid out in the public area where you can compare yourself to the size of a bat. Anyways, have you got some more questions?
Yes, good one, yeah. Are they nocturnal?
So they're actually mostly crepuscular. In the wild, they tend to fly towards the dusk end of the day, and they'll fly towards where they want to eat. So they'll roost in a couple of trees, and then they'll spend the late evening and night eating that fruit. They're not like the bats that eat insects, so they don't use echolocation to capture their prey. They're not chasing moths or insects or anything like that. They have color vision instead, so they're searching for the fruit, and they have such good color vision that they can actually use it quite well in the dark. So they're not nocturnal, but they're also not diurnal.
How endangered are they, and are they extinct in the wild?
So these guys are classified as critically endangered, which is the next step above being extinct in the wild. So any more, and they could go down into that. There's fewer than 1,400 of them left in the wild, and they're split between just 2 islands on the Comoros Islands. So they are a very highly endangered species, and it is very possible that they could become extinct in the wild. And there's only currently 2 collections, including ourselves, that do house breeding groups of them.
Okay.
Very rare. Let's do some shots of the exhibit here. Oh, here we go. There's a bat. Did you ever want to know how a bat pees? They pee the right way up because they are not daft. They know that if they pee the wrong way up, then they're going to get wet. So they hang upside down by their thumbs, sometimes above you, and then they have a pee or a poo, and then they flip themselves. Whoops! They flip themselves back upside down and wiggle their little legs, and then they're away again. Whoops! We are getting mobbed.
Yeah, so these guys, I do still have the fruit bowl, which doesn't help.
Yeah, shall I get rid of that?
Yeah. Do you want to? Do you want to just go around and just give them a feed, and then we'll.
They've had the food from it. They just
they've had everything.
They see the bowl,
Oh, they
and
see
it's a very
the
bright
bowl.
colour, so they
Oh,
get
that's
excited
annoying.
by it.
I've got another question for you though, whilst I'm gone. Lewis and Martin would like to know, why are the females more aggressive than the males?
That is a very good question. I don't think it's one that's entirely answerable, but it is a lot of species, especially mammals and reptiles. The females do tend to be more aggressive, and it's usually to do with having to look after themselves when they're pregnant and they're young. So they want to be more aggressive to scare away any predators, anything like that.
Looking for a sneaky way in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what makes the Livingstone fruit bats so iconic?
Oh, well, they are the largest and the rarest breed of the Comorarian bats. I don't know how to answer that one. They're short ears.
No, they've got massive ears. So these guys have like the most like iconic Mickey Mouse ears, and that's how like people sometimes recognize them compared to some, because some other fruit bats have got like the pointy, scary kind of looking ears, whereas these ones are very, very cute. They've got the big rounded Mickey Mouse ears, so they're dead easy to tell apart from other bats.
Questions?
They are very active. Yes. What other questions you got?
Do they fight for their territories?
They don't tend to. They have different levels, so what you would call fighting might be like teeth and nails and things like that. They don't tend to go to that extreme unless they absolutely have to, because any damage they sustain to their wings could be dangerous for them in the wild. So the first level that they tend to do is calling out to each other, making a lot of noise, screaming at each other, clicking, those kind of noises that you can hear right now. So that's actually Nicolaus, and this is his territory that we're in. So he's just checking out and making sure that the people that have come here are allowed to be here. So after that, they might flap their wings, like Lucy was saying before, and then they might start using their thumbs to kind of try and hook And that's usually a good enough warning, and the other bat will try and fly off and away. So they don't fight unless they absolutely have to.
We've obviously inspired someone because Panda Boy wants to know, what do I need to work with these regarding GCSEs?
Regarding GCSEs?
Or other qualifications?
GCSE level, you need your standards, English, maths, science, IT. Anything else beyond that is very flexible, but I'd recommend geography. After that, you can either go into a BTEC, which is what I did. I did animal management, but you can also do A-levels that go towards science. And then you want to be looking towards a degree either in zoology or something related, so I did animal behaviour. You can go into something more medical related, like human medical related, human behaviour, and then switch out, but that obviously takes a little bit longer. You can also, after college level, try to get experience in a zoo instead, and then do what's called a DIMSA, which is a qualification you can only do whilst you're working in a zoo.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be really interesting for people to hear how we got into the industry. So I did a animal management degree, and then I went and did a bit of volunteering at a couple of zoos, Hanna Wildlife Park and Northumberland in Sweden. And then I studied, I got the degree in animal management and went and worked at Chester Zoo in education. So I didn't get the first job that I ever wanted, which was being a keeper, but you kind of have to take different steps to get to where you are. But a lot of it's volunteering. What about you?
Someone's got my ponytail. I did an animal management diploma at college, and then I was really lucky actually. I got a job as a trainee keeper, so I didn't need a huge amount of experience to get started, and that was at Banham Zoo, like nearly 20 years ago. And then I got a job at Chester Zoo, and I did my DIMSA, which is the zoo management qualification.
There we go.
I'm free. And then moved my way up to Northumberland Zoo.
Yeah. So there's lots of different ways of doing it. Experience in kind of volunteering is one of the most popular things that people do, because that is one of the things that's most sought after. If you can imagine, there's a lot of people out there that want to do a job like this. And obviously we're making it look very cushy today because the bats are being super cute and they're coming over and saying hello and, you know, doing all those cute things. But realistically, 90% of the time we don't do things like this. We're usually picking up poo and dragging it around, and it's raining and stuff's frozen, and we're very much glorifying the job today. Sorry, there's a bat trying to have a pee on me. But yes, if you want to do it bad enough, there's loads of courses out there that you can do. Anyways, have we got any more bat questions?
Yeah, obviously people want to know more about babies because we've got a couple of questions. How long do their pregnancies last? And then, Alison, hi Alison, Alison works here. She wants to know, how do you tell when they're pregnant?
Good question. So the pregnancy lasts 152 days, which is quite long for a small mammal species, but quite short for a flying fox species. And we usually know they're pregnant. It's one of those where they try to hide their pregnancy as long as they can. So the way that we tell is usually by weighing them. So we have a base weight for them, and then we try and weigh them as often as we can over the course of what we know to be the pregnancy period, because we know when they've mated. And if they start gaining weight in that period of time, then we know that it's quite likely that they're pregnant. But it's not going to be until very late in the period when we can guess that they are actually for certain.
Another question linked to that as well. How do bats feed their babies? And do they make milk like other mammals?
Okay, they do make milk like other mammals, and that is how they feed their babies. In fact, there are some species of flying fox, not including these guys, where the males can also make milk and feed the babies.
Which is mental.
It is, it's insane.
That is mental.
And how many babies do they usually have? The baby questions are flying in them.
That's great. So they usually only have one at a time, and like I said, they're quite dependent on the parent for at least 6 months of their life. After that, they do tend to hang around, and they will try to take milk from the mother still if she has another younger baby. So sometimes it's the job of the dominant male that looks after the creche to defend it from young males that need a little bit more space and pushing away from their mums, because otherwise it can affect the new young generation.
Another question from Arwell. Thanks Arwell for asking loads of questions, because we wouldn't have that many if it wasn't for you. How long have your bats been in a group together?
So we got the first set of them, the Bristol boys, in November, I think it was. And then they were actually here on their own for a little while. They were in the off-show holding pens, settling in, getting used to keepers. And we had some issues getting the group in from Jersey because of the weather. So the ferry kept getting cancelled and things like this, and it wasn't safe to transport them. So we didn't end up getting them until December, I think. We mixed them shortly after in the large area so that they had a chance to actually all pick their own territories rather than the Bristol boys already having some. And then we opened it on Boxing Day, I believe.
Yeah, it was Boxing Day. Yeah, seems like ages ago now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We haven't got any more questions, so what does everyone think of bats? Maybe you can let us know in the comments. Do you think they're cute? Do you think they're scary at all, dear?
Hello. Which one's this one, Jay? Oop, it's a cheeky one.
That's Erebus. So he is one of the younger males. He's not the youngest though. And he and Heimdall are actually two that I find very difficult to tell apart unless I'm quite close up to them. They've not got many unique scars or patterns on them. Are you okay there?
Yeah.
How long does it take you to tell them all apart?
It took me 3 days.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah, so I started working with them very soon after they came, and I was on them for 3 days straight, and I kind of made it my mission to test myself. I kind of would look at the bat, decide which one I thought it was, and then I'd use the scanner to read their chip. And if I was correct, I'd make a little note that the pattern that I associated with that name was correct, or the scar. And then it got easier from there.
Where are the microchips?
The microchips are located between the shoulder blades at the back of the neck. So it's very similar to us having a pet cat or a pet dog. If they get out, we need to be able to know where they come from, but also it's used for medical ID. So it's not, I might not be here every day. It could be a keeper in that doesn't necessarily know exactly which bat is which. And if it has a wound or something, they need to be able to scan the chip and say, okay, it's this animal, it's this age, these are the wounds it's had in the past, and it just stores all their history on it.
Katie Gray reckons the scariest thing is probably being peed or pooed on.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
I have been peed on quite often. I'm pretty sure they deliberately aim for me most of the time.
Ooh, that was a close one.
That was a
Yeah.
close one.
I've only been pooed on once by them so far.
That's good going.
Yeah, fingers crossed it doesn't happen again. It does smell quite strong.
It is quite fragrant. Yeah.
I like this question. Lewis wants to know, why are they so cute?
I mean, they're adorable. If you want the scientific answer, they're very anthropomorphic. So they've got like the big eyes, they've got the cute little faces, the cute little noses, they've got those rounded ears, and they look quite human in their face, and that's something that we associate with cuteness.
Like little puppies, aren't they? Flying foxes.
They do look exactly like foxes.
Yes. They're very cute.
Have we ever had any bat escapes?
Ooh, God. No,
So,
that would be a nightmare. wouldn't
not
it?
out of the building. We have had one get into the keeper area.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
When we
right
first
at the
arrived.
beginning.
Yeah, we didn't quite realise how friendly
fast.
they were.
Yeah. I think that was Niklaus.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just kind of hitched a ride on the door and just thought, oh,
Scurrying
no.
out, yeah. But it was very easy to lure back with a little bit of food. We have double door systems in all the keeper areas, so even if a bat got out of an enclosure, it would be contained within the actual building, and we can get in and out still whilst they're contained in a space. So
Yeah, the thing about these bats is that without them being in this house, because this house is toasty, like I'm regretting wearing this hoodie massively. They get frostbite on their wings, on the thin membranes of their wings, at just 10 degrees. So they wouldn't last very long in the UK, that's for sure. I'm sorry, I'm jumping because I'm not used to being in here. But they don't scare me at all. Like it's just a bit of a shock when you see a big black thing kind of going, hello, here we go.
if you just give this one a bit of space.
Yeah. Generally when they fly around, flying is a good time to do the releasing of the wee and the poo. Here we go, there's another one. Oh,
God,
there we go.
The pee is flying everywhere.
Hello.
That's Thea again.
This is Thea.
Yeah, the young bees.
You're very impressive.
She is. So she's very, very good at showing her wings. She's one of the ones that trains the most easily. And we tell her apart because on this wing, if she opens it, she's got a scar just in the divot between the first two fingers.
Yeah, got that.
And then on this wing, she's got a crescent moon-shaped scar.
Wow.
cheeky. We've got a comment. Flying foxes, are you blind? They're clearly winged cats. I would say they're more dog-like than cat-like.
Yeah, I mean,
The long nose, isn't it?
Yeah,
it
cats
is a bit,
tend
isn't
to
it?
have shorter muzzles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kittens have got like cute little noses, isn't they? These ones are like dead nosy. You're nosy. Hello. This way. So what's their favourite food, Jay?
Their favourite food is by far melon. It's closely followed by pear.
What
And
type of
then-
melon? Is it watermelon?
They quite like most types of melon. I gave them watermelon and I think honeydew earlier. They don't seem to have a preference between the two of them. But yeah, after pear, it's then most other fruit, and then things like sweet potato, carrot, stuff like that. So we do feed them a slightly different diet here in captivity than they would get in the wild. In the wild, we would eat predominantly fruit, but they supplement it with leaves, pollen, nectar, and seeds. But the fruit that we can get here in this country is obviously designed for human consumption, and it's a lot higher sugar and lower in other nutritional value. So we instead supplement with root veg, which just boosts them and brings them back around to the correct nutritional value.
That's Acer down there. Acer's
That
very
is, yes.
recognisable because he's got like a bit of a scar on his bottom jaw there from a historic injury before we got him. Whoop. Hello. I got a question. How can you tell the difference between boys and girls?
As if people haven't noticed that yet.
Yeah, they are very, very easily recognisable between them. Obviously, Acer here has given us a great example that he is a boy, and females just have nothing on their belly, so you can't really tell. So over here, you guys can tell me what this is, potentially. Are you a boy or are you a girl? So he's like, I don't want to take part in this game. But yeah, they are very easily recognisable. Have we got any more questions, Luce?
Yes. Why do they hang upside down? Does it make it easier to get food?
It's more to do with flight. The way that their bodies are designed, because they do that thing where they drop into flight, it's easier to do that from an already upside down position. Hi, Asa. He's trying to climb up our legs again. So it's more to do with flight and roosting and things like that. And it's also easier to protect their wings. Their body isn't positioned to be able to sit the correct way up. Their legs are splayed the wrong direction, so they wouldn't be able to support their body very well.
Here's an example of their back legs. So the back legs are kind of a bit floppy. They don't really do a great deal. Ace is just scrounging around on the ground, having a look to see if there's any food here. But what's really interesting is you can see the pattern on the back of his neck really clearly. So each bat has a different pattern across there, which was one thing we can use to help identify them.
Yeah, so because Acer is one of the more submissive males, he does spend a lot of time crawling around on the floor looking for food that the more dominant ones have left.
So Katie wants to know, why doesn't the blood rush to their head if they're upside down?
Hello. You alright?
That's one that you were talking about the other day.
Yeah, it's just to do with the way that their arteries are designed. It's just slightly different to others. They have valves that can open and close their arteries in a slightly different way to other mammals, so that the blood doesn't rush to their head and cause them to, first of all, get very dizzy or pass out, or even cause brain damage, which would be fatal. So they have to have a completely differently designed cardiovascular system.
Yeah, it would not be easy for these guys to readapt to living in a different way.
Mm.
Their entire body is designed to do what they do, and they can't do anything else.
Well, they've settled down a bit now, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think they've realised that we've stopped dispensing food. So which one's this one then? Because this isn't Acer now, this is a different one.
This is the one that flew in and took over.
Mm.
I kind of need him to go up a little bit more so I can see more of him. Do you mind moving?
So he's got a little tiny hole in his
I
left
think
wing
this
there.
is Erebus again.
Erebus again.
Yeah, because he's not got any of the scars of the other males, and it's him and Heimdall that I find hard to tell apart.
Hello.
Oh wait, no. He has got a scar on his ear. This is Finn. So he's got a little chip in that ear that I couldn't see before. And also if I open this wing, he'll have... Are you going to open it for me? No. He does have a little scar on the inside there, a little hole.
Yeah.
So Finn is actually one of our more dominant males. He does very well with the ladies. So we're hoping that he will father some young soon.
Just leading on from that, Arwell's asked, who's the most docile bat in the group?
Docile. That's a good
None of
question.
them are particularly docile, are they? Especially when food's involved.
I'd actually say Ixion. So Ixion's kind of a mid-ranking male. He doesn't get too excitable, but he is friendly and will let you interact with him. He's keen but not over keen, so he's quite chill. And he's one of those where the other bats, he moves around their territories quite a lot, and the other bats don't seem to mind him being there. So he's chill with them too.
I'll just show you this actually while we've got a bat so close. Can you see his little toes? So what's really interesting about these bats is that these claws on their back feet, their resting position is like this. They physically have to move a muscle to let go. So that means that when they're asleep, they don't have to think and worry about staying in the tree. They're not just going to fall out the tree. So it's just quite cool that their claws are constantly like this. And because we haven't got like natural branching and stuff in here that they would normally wear their claws and nails down on, we have to physically clip their nails for them, which is a process that they are used to. Do you want to describe that process? Oh, hello.
Yeah. Just release you from the bat.
That there is Ixion, the one
That's
that I was
Ixion,
saying
is
is
it?
pretty chill. Yeah.
This is the chill one. We've been told that you've been chill. Oh, this is the one that's got that funny mark on it. Yeah. Yeah, so he's got this little white mark between his eyes. He's the only bat that's got that. You can see he's got quite it's very kind of blonde, almost ambery color on the back of his neck compared to the other one we were looking at earlier. So yeah, they're all very different. But yes, anyways, trimming bats' nails.
Do you want me to?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So the bats are really, really delicate. So we just have to very carefully handle them, and we do actually wear handling gloves as well when we pick them up, because they're in a situation where they might not feel completely comfortable, so they might actually react and bite us. So we wear really thick handling gloves to protect ourselves. And then what we do is we take hold of their back feet and we really gently take them off of the net, and we wrap their wings against their body so they can't flap around, and then they feel nice and secure in our grip. And then a second person comes along and just use some little small mammal nail trimmers, and we just take the tips off just so that they don't snag on any of the netting. And we only have to do this every few months. It's not a big thing really.
Hello, we've been joined by a few others now. You guys are so nosy, aren't you? It's very warm over here, isn't it?
I wonder if we go down to the long end, we might get some
Yeah, let's do
footage of them
Let's
flying
do that.
towards us. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we're just gonna see if we can get some of them to fly towards us from that corner. We're gonna ditch them. Oh, they're coming already. I can hear them. There's one. There's another one. Oh, there's another one there. Whoop. So the length of the building, it's like 14 meters from end to end. There we go. Here we got a couple coming over. Hello. Hello, everybody. Please don't pee on me. There comes another one.
You got one just behind your head.
All right, yeah. No bother. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's a great show of their physical condition if they're actually using their wings and they're actually flying and not just climbing everywhere like lazy bats. Can I have that back, please? Thank you.
Got it.
Thank you. Look at all these guys in the corner here. Can you see them? The screen is not very wide. There we go. Look at them all. They've all just come over to say hello.
They're just kind of a bit clingy, really, aren't they? They don't look
Very
very
clingy.
Just on that as well, being clingy, do they live in family groups? Wild?
They roost in both family and non-family groups, so they all kind of will congregate together. They typically, the young and the females will obviously stay together, but otherwise a lot of them will move around more, and they don't have to be related to be in the same roosting area. There are actually only about 14 roosts in the wild currently between the two islands that they live on, so really not that many. This here is Celine. She's really easy to tell apart because her ear on this side, she's got, when she looks, she's got this flat ear.
Oh, yeah. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the questions are flooding in now.
Oh my goodness.
Do they hibernate?
No, they do not. They don't come from a place that's cold, but also they wouldn't cope with the cold. So they're not a hibernating species.
And do they have any predators?
They do have predators, but their largest threat at the moment is actually humans, and I would count humans as predators. We do hunt them, obviously not us personally. So we do hunt them, but we also cause deforestation. We cause climate change, which makes storms out in the ocean that whip these islands and drag them out to sea. So their biggest concern right now is humans, not other predators.
That's one of the reasons we wanted to highlight the Species on Earth Week as well, because it is partly our fault that they are under threat. So whatever we can do to try and help reverse climate change is going to help this species and tons of other species all around the world as well. How do they clean themselves?
The same as most furry mammals. They do lick themselves clean. It is quite cute when you see them like stretching their wings out and licking their wings and stuff. They'll also lick each other clean if they've got a really good bond. So we do have a couple of males that will sit together and they'll play fight for a little bit and then they'll groom each other. The females tend to more groom each other. They don't really groom the males, and the males aren't interested in grooming the females usually.
So we've talked a little bit about breeding and how they breed, but Windy, sorry if I didn't say that right, is asking, are we planning on breeding them? So maybe you could talk a bit about the breeding program and why we've actually got these bats at Northumberland Zoo.
Yeah, okay, so I mentioned briefly before that we're one of only 2 collections that do have a breeding group of these bats. Bristol Zoo used to have some, but they've been split to us and Jersey now that they've closed down. So the hope is to continue breeding and to swap males with the zoo that does have breeding males, and possibly expand that into other zoos as well. So we want to be able to prevent the gene pool from bottlenecking. We want to keep a really diverse gene pool, keep them really healthy. And, you know, hopefully one day, generations into the future, we'll be able to release these into the wild. But at the moment, that's not a sustainable possibility because their habitat is still being destroyed. There's no use putting fresh animals in a habitat that's getting smaller. So dealing with the habitat destruction first, and then the gene pool.
Bee thinks that they're really amazing, and she's really glad that we are taking care of these bats. That's nice. Sweet. Thanks, Bee.
Yeah, well, we're super lucky to have them. There's only, 100 of them in captivity or something like that, so there's not very many. And the fact that we've got 13 of them here in Northumberland is insane. Yeah. And this is the only place on mainland UK where you can actually see them. So we are very, very lucky. And if you do want to come down and see them, you can see them every day here at Northumberland Zoo. The exhibit is open from 9:30 until 5 o'clock every day. If you want to watch a little bit more or learn a bit more about where the bats came from, what it was like moving and transporting bats, then have a look at one of our YouTube videos, which is all about the bats arriving at the zoo and getting to fly around for the first time. That's just on our YouTube channel. You can have a little look through our zoo episodes list. We've got a little bat here that's just saying hello. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone who's tuned in today. You've had some really great questions, and obviously if it's gone down well, then we might do one again. I don't know. It's all about time, isn't it? But yeah, if you haven't done already, then please do like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, because every subscription really helps us out. We're trying to generate a little bit more income through YouTube, and we hope that you are enjoying this content. And obviously watch this space, because hopefully we'll have bat encounters soon, which I feel like you guys might really like. But thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We'll see you soon. Cheers, Jay. Cheers, Luce.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't actually know how to end this. Bye.